Hey there, welcome to my laundry room. We're doing this video in my pajamas today because my dryer has an error code. It's doing the E64. What that usually means is there's something wrong with the heating element. It could be that the heating element is broken, the thermostat's faulty, there might be a short. But today what I'm going to show you how to do is how to actually replace the heating element. I ordered a new heating element on Amazon. It comes with the thermal limiter and the thermostat. I'll leave a link in the description below in case you want to check it out and see which one I used for my dryer here. My dryer is the Frigidaire Affinity. That's about 15 years old. So here's the tools that I ended up using for this. Really just a Phillips screwdriver is going to be your main one. This one is very helpful to get into the back of the dryer near the heating element because this one's still too big. I had to bend back a tab on the new heating element. That's what I use that for. And then these are optional, Sharpie and some blue tape just to mark your wires. This is an electric dryer we're working on. The first thing we're going to do is unplug it. So I'm up here on top of the dryer, and behind here there's two screws. There's one right here. And then there's one over here on the opposite side. We're going to remove those. With those screws removed, we can slide the top of the dryer back and off. Next, there's two screws up here in the front of the dryer. This outside one here. And this other outside one here. And those are going to let us remove this front panel here. With those two screws removed, this panel is just going to pop up and pull off. There's some wires attached over here. Just be careful not to pull it too far so you don't damage these wires. And the way it's connected is there's just two little hooks right there, and those fit into those little slots. There's one on each side. Next, we're going to take off the front panel here that has the door on it. There's 4 screws on that. There's one up here in the corner, one up here in the other corner, one up here on the bottom. Make sure you're taking off the one that's attached to the panel, not the one, this one hooks it up to the pedestal thing that it sits on. Make sure you're taking off the screw for the door panel. And the same thing over here on the other side. Make sure you're taking off the one for the panel, not the one for the pedestal stand. This is the one you want. Got a little organization system here for my screws so far. 2 from the back, 2 from the front top, 4 from the front door panel. Once you have those 4 screws out, I'm going to open the door, there are 2 more screws that we're going to take off. It's this one and this one. So as you can see, it just pulls up and out, and then just be careful of these wires that are still attached over here. So I just have the door kind of propped up on the pedestal. We're just gonna pop our light out. There's a little clip. Just push that in. And rotate the light out. And then for this other electrical connection, it's just squeeze and pull. Oh look, treasure. That's gross. $0.22. So now here on the front of the dryer, I put a light in here so maybe we can see a little bit better, but this is the heating element right here. There's 3 screws attached to it. There's one down here on this leg, one down here on this leg, and the other one is kind of way back here, and there, way in the back, right down there. And we've got a ground wire here. Take that off. And then over on the other side there, we've got all our wire, all our electrical connections. As you can see, that screw back there, it's coming out. It's kind of a slow process. This is what I have found in my garage that works the best to get in there, because even my smallest screwdriver didn't fit back there, but this thing is amazing. It's a slow and kind of painful process, but it's coming out. A little bit more. Alright, we finally got that screw out of there from the back of the heating element. This little tool has saved my butt so many times. I'll see if I can find one, like an updated version for you guys. If I can, I'll link it in the description below. Remove the ground wire there. I'm going to put the little washer and nut back on there, just so I don't lose it for right now. We'll transfer that to our new heating element when we put the new one in. And for that one, I just used a 10mm wrench. Now that we have all the screws and the ground wire disconnected, I'm going to try to pull it forward a little bit so it's a little easier to access all these wires over here on the side. So I'm going to label my wires. I'm going to do the gray ones here. I'm just going to label them 1, 2, and 3. You can do top, middle, bottom, you know, A, B, C, however you want to. I just find it easier so I know where they go. So I'm going to say 1 is this top one, then I'm going to go do 2, and 3 will be the bottom one. These just wiggle off. Wiggle and pull. Then for the red wires there, which are for the thermostat and the thermal limiter, I'm going to unscrew the whole things right now. There are some screws on this side. I think there's 2 screws on each component. I'm just going to take those screws out and set those pieces to the side with the wires still on them for now. And then when we install the new part, we can transfer the wires from the old to the new. There you can see I've got one of the screws out. We're just going to take out the rest of the screws on those components. Alright, now we've got both the thermostat and the thermal limiter disconnected. Just remember which one goes in the front and which one goes in the back. We can put a piece of tape on those too, to help us remember if you want to. And then we're going to carefully push our wires out of the way so we can get our heating element out here. So on this dryer, I'm going to take the legs off of the heating element to get it to fit out of here. There's a screw on each side. There's one there, and then there's one down there. Down here on the bottom, this one, and that one up top. We're just going to take those off so the legs come off and this will fit out of the hole. So here we have our old heating element. There's pieces falling off of it, of these coils. That probably isn't good, but that's why we're replacing it. Look at that, nice and new and shiny. Just do a quick comparison of the old and the new, make sure that they're the same. We got our ground screw over there, our connections, our holes for our thermostat, and our thermal limiter. Look at the difference here between the old one and the new one. Like, the new one's nice and straight. Everything's isolated in there. And the old one's all bent up and things are kind of touching each other. Doesn't look very safe anymore. Alright, let's get started on installing the new one. Alright, it's a little bit cleaner in there. We stuck the vacuum cleaner in there and got some of that dust and dirt and fur. The first thing we're going to do is put the new thermostat and thermal limiter on. We'll just swap out the wires and then those will be ready to screw back on. And if you got this far and you've taken it apart, you can put it back together. So here we go. Now we're going to put the legs back on. Next we're going to reattach our thermostat and thermolimiter to these holes right here. Next we're going to connect our gray wires. 1 goes on the top, 2 goes in the middle, and 3 goes on the bottom. So the new part came with a new ground wire connection on it. We're just going to put the old wire back on. We'll take off that little metal connection here. And then we'll put our ground wire on. The new nut on the ground wire was not a 10mm, so I just used an adjustable wrench to tighten it up. And so you have your connections hooked up, ground wire back on. Just get this back into place. I already lined it up back there so it fits in the little hole that's made for it. And for this leg, there's a little slit in the bottom. There's a little tab that fits in there. Just line up the hole. And then the same thing for the other leg. There's just a hole in the bottom of the dryer that lines up right there. And then we'll put our screws back in. Now's the time we're going to put our long screw in the back of the heating element with our little tiny screwdriver bit. There you can see that's the hole way back there. I don't think I can reach and film at the same time. Like Go-Go Gadget arms here. You can see the screw back there is back in place. That one's slow going, so just expect to spend a while on that one. So now we have everything connected on the heating element. I went back and double checked to make sure all the connections are still on, nothing's fallen off, the ground wire is on, all the screws are back in here. Next we're going to put our electrical clip back on here for the door panel. I'm going to put our light back on. We line our door panel up, put it back on. We're going to put the 2 screws back in here. We're going to put our 4 screws in the panel, the 2 on the top, and then the 2 down here on the bottom. That little guy there, and the one over there. Next we're going to line the control panel part up with the tabs that go in the little slots there. And then we're going to put the 2 screws back up here. Next we're going to put the top panel back on the dryer. And we're going to put our screws back on the back here. And then don't forget to plug it back in. Okay, now let's turn it on and see if we get a code. Seems to be working. We'll let it run for a few minutes and make sure everything's good. Just a side note on this, the new heating element comes covered in oil, so when you're testing out your dryer, make sure that you don't have anything in there. I had a blanket in there for a few minutes and it already stinks, so I'm gonna turn it back on and let it run for a while with nothing in it, but I just wanted to let you guys know that. I hope this video helps you. You can save a few bucks and don't have to call a repair person. You can do it yourself and fix your dryer.